The best way to get terrible service is to be a terrible customer. Welcome back, travel fans. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides, and today I'm going to tell you 5 ways you can ruin your vacation. I know, the title sounds so helpful, doesn't it? Because that's what you go looking for on the internet, is ways you can ruin your vacation. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, these are 5 mistakes you can make. And if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I do travel occasionally. I have been on a few cruise ships. I have been on a few flights. I have stayed in a few hotels. And some of these mistakes I've made myself, and some of them I see happen all the time from other people, or I hear about them because they write to me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, or they comment in the videos. And so I wanted to share with you these 5 things, and there are many, many more. I could go on and on about this, but I picked these 5. 5 ways you can ruin your vacation, so make sure you don't do these things. And it starts with, make sure that you have the right documents. If you're doing any kind of like long distance traveling, anything involving a flight, and especially anything involving leaving the country, you really need to do a little bit of research first and check to make sure that you have the proper documents to go wherever you're going. And on the day that you're leaving, also make sure that you have everything with you. I have this constant paranoia every time I leave for a trip. I have to check my bag like 4 or 5 times, and I still do it even like when I'm sitting in the taxi or sitting in the train to the airport. I have to check to make sure I have my passport and my phone, because that will be my tickets, and any sort of reservation or anything for the hotels and rental cars and things. I always have that printed out in paper in case I lose my phone, because then I wouldn't have anything left. Also, I have experienced traveling with somebody who didn't have the right kind of passport, and it created a huge problem when we were trying to fly to Miami, and he ended up having to buy at the airport an entirely new ticket. So his vacation became 2 times as expensive like that. So that's one way you can ruin your vacation in advance, is to not have the proper documents in advance, or to have them and not bring them with you. Check to make sure you have your documents. All right, the next thing I have picked out is sort of a snowball effect, because if you do this, it can lead to so many other ways to ruin your vacation. And I have to say that this is another thing I'm guilty of. If you want to ruin your vacation, then get really, really drunk. Yes, if you watch my videos, then you know I like to have the occasional cocktail while on vacation. I do enjoy happy hour, and I try to always do it in a responsible way. I never drink if I'm going to be driving anywhere, or if I've got some sort of important something coming up. But that doesn't mean that I haven't done stupid things while having too much to drink. And one of the big problems with drinking too much is it makes you forget to be responsible sometimes. And so the other things coming up on the list are sort of related to that. But one thing directly related to drinking too much is, of course, how you feel the next day. If you're just going on like a short 3-day weekend or something, or 4-day weekend, like say you're flying down to Miami Friday night and you've got to fly back Sunday night because you've got to work Monday morning. If you get totally trashed Friday night, you're gonna be hungover for most of the good part of Saturday. You know, like the good beach hours and like the good like shopping and going out to lunch hours. That's like ruining like half of the time that you're gonna be there. So try to drink responsibly. Remember, drink a water every now and then. Make sure you've got a solid base of food in your stomach. Those are, important things. And to come to the next point on the list, which often happens when people drink too much, is that then they do something stupid or dangerous. Oh, the things I've seen people do, and of course, some of them I have done myself, because they drunk too much and have beer muscles or beer goggles, or just think they're a superhero because they've had a couple cocktails. And there are so many videos online. If you do a YouTube search for like drunken fail, you can sit there for hours and watch people do things like this. So that's another reason to not drink too much, because like if you land in the emergency room on your vacation, that's not gonna be fun. I've gotten stitches while on a cruise, not because I was drinking too much, but you know, spending the day in an emergency room or in a medical clinic when you'd rather be like at the pool or windsurfing or something like that, that just sucks. It ruins your vacation. And when I got those stitches, I had a medical bill I had to pay of over $300, you know, which was money I wasn't planning on spending. So don't do something stupid. And if you drink too much, chances are you're gonna tend to do it. So taking it back to number 2. All right, number 3 is something that also happens a lot when people drink too much, but I've seen it all the time when people aren't drunk, and that is be an asshole to service staff. Oh yes, someday I'm gonna do a complete video just about this subject. The best way to get terrible service is to be a terrible customer. So if you're being a jerk to the person who's serving you by treating them disrespectfully or ordering them around or being unreasonable with your requests or just plain not tipping, you're not gonna get good service from them. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And service people, they talk to each other. And like if you show up at a resort and on the first day, you're a total asshole to one of the waiters or the cocktail mixers or whatever, they're gonna talk to each other and they're gonna point you out, and you're gonna have like a secret flag above your head, and that's gonna affect your trip. Even if you paid a lot of money to be there, no amount of money that you pay to be anywhere gives you the right to be an asshole to somebody who's working there. Nothing. So if you wanna have a terrible vacation, then be terrible to the people that are serving you. That'll work. And I'm already on number 5, and like I said, there are so many other things I could add to this list. Maybe I'll do another 5 more ways to ruin your vacation video, like I did my 5 more ways to get free drinks on a cruise. But the 5th thing I wanted to talk about in this video, which people tend to do when they've drunk too much, is spend too much money. That's, you know, linked to the irresponsible behavior because you're just not thinking about stuff like that, or you don't want to think about stuff like that when you're having a good time. So you buy another round, or you invite people for another round, or you go to the table dance bar and you blow, you know, $500 on a private dance back in the champagne room. Not that I've ever done that. Or you upgrade your room to a suite and don't ask how much it's gonna cost and max out your credit card. And you know, I've heard so many stories about people doing stuff like that, especially when they're young, and it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Don't spend more money than you have just to have a fantastic vacation. Try to focus on staying on your budget and find the best, coolest, most interesting thing you can do with the money you have to spend. You might have fun then on the vacation, but then you're gonna get the bill later, and that is not fun. Especially if you don't have the money to pay for it. Pick a budget, stay on your budget, and that will ultimately, I think, help you have a better time. If you know anybody who is guilty of doing these things that I just talked about, then please share this video with them to call them out and maybe remind them on their next trip to behave or to do it the right way. And I would be really interested to hear what you think should also be on, let's just say, an unending list of things you can do to ruin your vacation. Maybe you've got some fun story, something that you did or something that happened to you, or something that you saw somebody do that was obviously you know, a direct way to ruin their vacation. Please write it in the comments below, or write it on when I post this on Facebook, post it in the comments under the video on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to give me a little tip, you can do that at patreon.com/veryunofficial. And as always, I say a special thanks to the VIPs whose names are over here. Hopefully I don't forget it this time. Thank you guys. You guys are great. And next Sunday, I'm going back to story time. Yes, looking forward to telling you guys another story time, and I have a little surprise. It's not gonna be from here. See you next week.